First, let us pay homage as to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Tsung Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Tupten Tarji, homage to the three jewels of the altar, and homage to the main deity of the group practice today, the yellow Jambala, the wealth deity, and the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and all deities. Sumu, Ranzhen Chacho, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here and over the webcast. Our participating VIPs today are Madam to Ambassador Daniel Liao, the rep from the Republic of China to Sweden and Norway, Dharma Sister Judy, accountant to the Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa, Dr. Zhang,
Australia Taiping Shensi,
and Justice of Peace from Australia, Dharma Brother Liang,
Australia 商标法律顾问
and the attorney from Australia, Dharma Brother Ma, the producers for the Geni Tensang Shinten from CTI-TV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Suyachi, PR Director of True Buddha School, Taiwan Temple, Dharma Brother Fermi Wang,
以及从世界各地赶来的师兄师姐
and all the Dharma brothers and Dharma sisters from all over the world.
大家晚安，大家好。
Good evening, everybody. How do you do? Today, we did the practice of yellow Jambala. And as we know, tomorrow at the Rainbow Temple, there would be the Vaishravana, or the wealth treasure deity, and the outfit should be all yellow for today and tomorrow, and also for the autumn grand ceremony, which is of the Tsongkhapa, and there would also be yellow robe and yellow crown. So recently we can just wear yellow. So next Saturday there would be the grand ceremony. So yellow Jambala and Vaishravana, they are both wealth deities. So we can pray to them so that in the mundane world we can have abundant and ample resources and provisions, which is wealth and good fortune. And it can also turn adversities into something that goes smoothly. So which means if you encounter lots of obstruction and difficulties, by becoming the primary supplicant, things will turn around and will go smoothly. And Tsongkhapa's first guru is Triplen Chin. So from he became ordained until about 16 or 17, his guru was Triplen Chin. And he told Tsongkhapa that in your life you would encounter a lot of negative or unsupportive or adverse affinities or people, basically. So remember that you need to practice Vaisravana or Yellow Jambala, that it will turn adversities into supportive affinity. So that's what Triplen Chin Rinpoche told Lama Tsongkhapa. So when he was practicing, when he was building the Maitreya Great Hall or temple, he did not have enough money or resources to do so. So he practiced Yellow Jambala and Vaisravana. And afterwards, many people notice his virtues and spiritual cultivation power. So they supported this Maitreya quarter or hall. So this was something that Tsongkhapa did. This was a marvelous thing that Tsongkhapa did to build the Maitreya's Bodhisattva's quarter or temple. As for the Dharma invitation ritual, I would like to invite all of you to become primary supplicants for the grand ceremony. Why? Because recently he was born during the Yuan dynasty, at the time of the Yuan Sheng emperor. So it is in between Yuan dynasty and Ming dynasty. So he was born during that era. And his attainments were extremely tremendous. In today's world, today's Buddhist world, it's very rare and few to have someone like Tsongkhapa. So the red, white, Sakya, and yellow sects combined, and he compiled and connected all the sutric and tantric teachings of all the 4 sects of tantric Buddhism as well. This is extremely rare. Most people, if they practice sutric Buddhism, they would oppose the tantric Buddhism or vice versa. But only during Tsongkhapa's time that he embraced both the sutric and tantric Buddhism. So he had extremely great meritorious deed. Tsongkhapa had many secrets. His origin was a secret. Second, his reincarnation, how he reincarnated, was also a secret. And third, during that time, during the era of Tsongkhapa, there was the 5 treatises of Maitreya Bodhisattva and also the Madhyamaka of Nagarjuna. So what was popular then was the Mula, Madhyamaka, Sautrantika, and Prasangika. So the Mula, so the Madhyamaka, Prasangika of Buddhapalita and Bhivaveka, and then Madhyamaka, Sautrantika. But why was Tsongkhapa got into the Madhyamaka, Prasangika? Actually, his view was extremely profound. Many people could not differentiate between Madhyamaka, Sautrantika and Madhyamaka, Prasangika. Only Tsongkhapa analyzed and provided clear exposition on them. And he also studied the 5 treatises of Maitreya and also the 5 treatises of Madhyamaka. So, in Tibet, what was popular in Tibet, the treatises of the 5 great treatises of Tibet, which is the ornament of clear realization of Mahayana Sutras, distinguishing the middle from the extreme, distinguishing Dharma and Dharma time, the sublime continuum. So Tsongkhapa studied them all, and also on the, and this is also a secret about Madhyamaka Sautrantika and Madhyamaka Prasangika, how he entered into its depths and understood and received the instructions from Manjushri Bodhisattva. These are all the secrets. These are all secrets. And the first one that he encountered were the 35 Buddhas. When he was in retreat for 6 months, he met the 35 Buddhas without heads. So he did not have any other way other than to pray to Manjushri Bodhisattva. And then Manjushri Bodhisattva instructed him to chant, and then to chant the Buddha's name. And then the heads of the 35 Buddhas appeared. So the image and the mudras of the 35 Buddhas were all painted or drawn based on Tsongkhapa's instruction. So, any one of you know the epithet for Buddhas? What are the most epithets for the Buddha? From the should be offered to the Buddhas. So please stand up and right. 10 of them. Tathagata, worthy of offerings, truly awakened, fully clear in conduct, well gone, understanding the world, an excellent leader, trainer of men, Buddhas, world honored one. So Manjushri instructed Tsongkhapa to recite these 10 epithets of the Buddha and then the names of the 35 Buddhas, and then the 35 Buddhas would show their complete appearances. So usually you chant Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, but at the time of extreme urgency, you need a few minutes to chant Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra. From Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra to Namo the Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, until the end. And then you also need to chant the 8 great bodhisattvas, and by the time you're ending it, then it's too late. So Hiking Kuan Yin Bodhisattva would appear, but at an extreme urgency, and in this urgent situation, when you want to pray to her, you can just chant one statement. Namo Gawang Guan Si Yin Jing, which is Namo Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra. That's it. But normally you chant the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra in completion. But at extreme urgency, when it's dangerous, extreme danger, then you just chant the name of the sutra, Namo Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra. I was instructed by the Hiking Kuan Yin Bodhisattva about this. Normally, if you want to purify yourself, you would chant Namo Gawang Guan Si Yin Jing or Namo Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, and the head would be purified, would become white. And you recite again Namo Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, the throat would be white and clean and purified. And then you recite again Namo Gawang Guan Si Yin Jing, the upper body would be purified. And then you recite again Namo Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, the lower body would be purified. And then you recite again Namo Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, the upper legs would be purified. And then you recite again Namo Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, the lower legs would be purified, and then the whole body will be purified. So every morning, if you recite this, and your whole body from head to toes would be purified, and then you recite the sutra, and then you do your practice, and you would benefit even more. Or if you encounter something bad as you leave the house, then they will be eliminated. Then you will not be contaminated by them, by any of the negative or evil energies. Evil gods or evil ghosts, their energy will not be able to attach to you. to go near you. So there are many secrets to many things. And what did Tsongkhapa, what secrets did Tsongkhapa have? I will talk about it at the grand ceremony. If you become the primary supplicant, you create affinity with Tsongkhapa. Then you can transform. In the least, you would be able to transform any adverse affinities into good affinities. And for the highest attainment, you will be able to attain Buddhahood in this lifetime, in this body. All the same, you can also attain Buddhahood in this lifetime, in this body. That's the highest attainment. But in the least, at the lowest attainment, you would be able to transform negative affinities into positive affinities. So at this grand ceremony, the Dharma transmission would be that of Zhe Tsongkhapa, and I hope that everyone would become the primary supplicants. Actually, Tsongkhapa has a very close affinity with Grandmaster. As you remember, when Grandmaster was expounding on the development stages of Tantrayana, at the very beginning, prior to the opening of the exposition, Lama Zhe Tsongkhapa appeared in the space and radiated a bright rays of light. And you remember when you listened to it? He appeared at the beginning of the exposition, and then before Tsongkhapa, the origin was Atisha, Dipamkara. So Atisha, Dipamkara, Zhe Tsongkhapa, these are all very closely related. Because at the time of Tsongkhapa, he believed that he had the lineage of Kadampa, or that Atisha, of the Atisha. So he personally believed that he held the lineage of Atisha in the Kadampa. So that was the new Kadampa. He established Gelugpa, which was the new Kadampa. So that was the lineage. So you need to recognize this guru, this lineage guru, Atisha, Dipamkara, and Tsongkhapa were related. He also studied lots of things from Kadampa. So he was under the belief that he had the lineage of Atisha and Kadampa. And his true origin is a secret, and I will talk about it at the grand ceremony. I cannot say it now, otherwise there will not be any novelty during the grand ceremony. So Yellow Jambala and Vaisravana, the deity for Homa tomorrow, can transform negative or adverse affinities into positive and supportive affinity. It can be done in this world. So the great Tsongkhapa, primarily he paid respect in many gurus, numerous of them, and the ones that he took refuge in, that he relied on, the primary ones was 14 of them. And on top of those, there were numerous gurus, countless of them. And the most important ones there were 3 of them who raised him from he was little, Dondrup Rinchen Rinpoche, and then the other guru was Rendawa Chonulodro, a Sakya guru. So Jetjun Rendawa, this was one of the most important or the primary guru. And the one who transmitted Manjushri instruction is Lama Buapa, the one who could transmitted the instructions of Manjushri Bodhisattva to Tsongkhapa. These were the 3 most important gurus of Tsongkhapa. I will talk more in details or clearly at the grand ceremony. Today, we will talk about the other key formulas. Still talking about the inner fire. See, the other key formulas. In the beginning of the practice, perform mandala and 100-syllable mantra. Mandala is extremely important. We were negligent. Why mandala offering is extremely important? Manjushri Bodhisattva told him, do we have mandala plate here? This is the mandala offering. Anyone practicing this? Anyone? Great mandala offering. Anybody? Anybody? Nobody. This is one of the 4 preliminary practice. So Tsongkhapa received the instruction from Manjushri Bodhisattva that he had to practice this great mandala offering. This is one of the 4 preliminary practices, right? Did you practice this? It's okay to use rice or using gems and jewels. Most importantly, at the center, the highest point, that's the Mount Sumeru. And below it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 levels represent the 4 continents. So by making this offering, you offer to the Mount Sumeru and the 4 continents, and including all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and divinities. So once you make offering to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all the deities inside this great mandala offering set, then this is the best way to accumulate merits and good fortunes. And this is called the Great Mandala Offering in Tantric Buddhism. Anybody that has practiced this would have the resources increased tremendously. So first you perform this mandala, which is this, and 100-syllable mantra. So what is the 100-syllable mantra? Is for repentance. Repentance for all your past deeds. That's also 4 preliminary practices. Great mandala and great prostrations, 4-fold refuge, and the 4 immeasurables. They are considered the fundamental or preliminary practices. And the 9 postures of the contemplation is the same as above. And that's the Vairocana's 7 postures plus 2 more. That would be the 9 postures of meditation. Especially the crucial point of sitting upright with the legs crossed. That meant 2 legs crossed. Do they refer to legs or knees? So, with legs crossed and both hands on the knees, and the 6 mudras of the furnace for the external body, the 6 mudras for the internal channels, and the 6 mudras for the secret body, for a total of 18 mudras. So in order to generate inner fire or tumo, Milarepa generated his tumo or inner fire using these 18 mudras. So what are the 6 mudras of the furnace for the external body? This seat, when you sit, there should be there should be some to lift your behind at the back. So what is the 6 mudras of the furnace? Is 6 triangles, but I cannot do it because this is flat. There should be something risen at the back. So both legs crossed and both arms. I need to lift this higher so that people can see. It would be very difficult. Now I ate a little bit too much. So cross both legs. So there are already 2 triangles, right? And then 2 hands cross holding the knees. So a triangle above and a triangle below. And then the 2 legs would come up to the chest. 1 triangle, 2, 3, 4 triangles, 5 and 6. So that's the 6 mudras of the furnace, or 6 furnace mudras for the external body. Furnace. And the navel chakra inside, also 6 furnace mudras. Below it, there's a triangular, right? See? So 3 triangles and 3 triangles below, and at the center there's a Dorje Patmu. Standing upright. So that's the 6 furnace mudras inside the body. And then the 6 furnace mudras for the secret body. And altogether 18 mudras. And you need to be able to master all these 18 in order to generate the inner fire. This is in the other key formulas. So it's very difficult to keep this 6 furnace mudras for a long time. So you need to use like a cloth belt to bind your own body around your legs, around your arms, and to push on the navel area. And then you perform the treasure with energy yoga to enter into the central channel and to ignite the inner fire. So today what we are talking about on the other key formulas, and this is it. So the outer 6 furnace mudras, inner 6 furnace mudras, and secret 6 furnace mudras. So that in your mind there are also the 6 furnace mudras. So this was written in Lamdre, the 18 mudras. Now, do you understand clearly? They are all triangles. Externally, there are 6 triangles. At the navel chakra, there are 6 triangles, and at your body chakra, there are also 6 triangles. For a total of 18 mudras. So this is a key formula. Milarepa relied on these 18 mudras to ignite his inner fire. There is a disciple who asked several questions. Someone from Australia, Dharma Sister Zhu Xiaoping. How should a tantric disciple view organ donation? It's very common in the West, but not in the East. It is common and accepted in the West. And he wrote, there are many research. Organ donations in Asia is much less than the West. That's because of their religions and because of past lives. Their family members are afraid that they would be accused of for lack of filial piety, or that they may suffer during their rebirth because of this. But let me tell you, it is actually as you wish. It's up to you. In Tantric Buddhism, there are few for lineage gurus or for sadhakas to donate their organs after death, because according to the tradition, that we need to make sure that the soul has left the physical body before you donate your organs. In Tantric Buddhism, it's the same. You need 48 hours, 2 days, or 3 days to wait until their consciousness leaves through the crown. But unfortunately, after such time that maybe the organs would have gone bad, the heart will not beat anymore and the liver doesn't work. But I said it is up to you, because once you have the intention, you have donated all your organs and body, like the cornea of the eyes or any parts. Once you have the intention, that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will protect you around and will alleviate your suffering. And Bodhisattvas will be able to take your consciousness or your soul and guide them to the Pure Land. So that's why I said it is up to you. It is meaningful either way. I mean, it has its own point either way. One time I did not understand English. At the driver license place, and someone asked me if I want to sign. And I thought by signing I would get my driver license. And then Simu walked by and said, "Please don't sign." I said, "Why not?" That's for the organ donation, that you agree to donate your organs. So if you sign, then if something happens to you, then you would donate your organs. That's at the place where you extend or get your driver license. Good thing that Simu understood English. But it's okay if I signed at that time too. Because if you have accident, all of a sudden you donate your organs, that's fine too. Because you had accident. It's better to have your cornea for people, or if you have good liver or kidneys or heart, for other people to use. So they would go to other people's bodies, and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would radiate light and guide your consciousness to the Pure Land. So that's why, in my opinion, either way is fine. It's up to you. So I have replied to the question about organ donation for a tantric disciple. And I have said that the prisoners on death row at the Zhang Yi prison in Singapore, they took refuge in Grandmaster and single-minded in chant the Guru Mantra and hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, and many of them donated their organs. And upon cremations, they had colorful sariras and sarira flowers. So, because they were prisoners on death row, and in Singapore they would be hanged. In Taiwan, they would be shot at execution. And then if he didn't die, the person being shot did not die sometimes, but the person who shot died of surprise. There is a body sacrifice, like say in the Chot tradition of Machi Lapdron. And in Tantric Buddhism, we also have that practice too. It's fine.
第二个问题，以佛教的角度看，安乐死是属于自杀还是他杀？是自杀还是他杀？
And for the like terminal euthanasia, like when you have terminal illness and then you take some drugs to put yourself to sleep, basically, to kill yourself. Is that murder or is that suicide? Someone in Australia wanted euthanasia. Or like mercy killing, and said that long life is a kind of punishment. And Grandmaster also doesn't want to live a long life. Now I know I will die, what year I will die. Golden Mother told me in my dream that I would die at a certain year. And then I confirmed it with Golden Mother. Is that the case? And Golden Mother said yes. So now I know what year I will die. But I will not tell anybody. In a single digit. I would not live a long life. My father lived to be 86. It would be less than that. Less than my father's. So it is extremely difficult to face euthanasia. And I have given the teaching in the past. In the Buddhist field, it is a gray area. In Mahayana Buddhism, it is extremely prohibited because that's violating the precept of killing. But in Tantric Buddhism, it's different because there is bardo deliverance in Tantrayana. So there are a lot of misery and suffering for the terminally ill patients. Because if they have to suffer so much before they die naturally, that's lack of compassion. If someone that truly master bardo deliverance and transference of consciousness, they can perform it, and so that the patient doesn't have to suffer so much. And if they perform the Bardo deliverance, then they don't violate the precept of killing. And Grandmaster has a method. If you find the formula to end your life for your particular life. So this kind of method means that you will not be enlivened again. So which means like if you're in a coma, you're on the bed, you still have consciousness, but you cannot move. So the worst is that you had stroke and your brain is completely damaged. You cannot talk, you cannot open your eyes. What's left is just a slight consciousness, but the body is still good. The heart is normal. The blood pressure is normal. And all the heart, liver, kidneys, lungs, a spleen, they're all normal and healthy. But because of the stroke and your brain, your whole body cannot move anymore. So the person just laid in bed. So I taught this method and just find the formula for ending your life. And then if you do it in 3 months, very fast, then he would leave. But the wife and the son said, this is too cruel. This is too cruel. Well, if you want him to continue to live, then what can you do? Then he would definitely be just in coma, in bed. With the slight consciousness, he knows a little bit what he wants to say or what he thinks, but he cannot move at all. So you want him to just lay there continually, then just let him be. So which one is more cruel? To let him lay in bed or to alleviate him? So who is cruel? The one living or the one in coma? Laying in bed. In coma.
一般的认知是佛教不容许自杀的，因为自杀就是杀佛。
Most Buddhist viewpoints cannot commit suicide because that's the same as killing a Buddha. But in the sutras, it was recorded that Sakyamuni Buddha once permitted 3 monks to kill themselves. Huh? Because they attain hardship. I'm sorry, I missed that. Of course, there's explanation for this too. And from my viewpoint about euthanasia or mercy killing, it's up to you. If you want them to die or to leave the world, then you can find Grandmaster, I can teach you. Because it's impossible for them to go well and to become alive again. So what use is staying here? But it is up to you. The third question, how is the heart mantra be generated? How is the heart mantra generated? At what spiritual cultivation heart mantra is generated? So I have explained that heart mantra is the sound waves generated by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And through these sound waves, then you would be able to generate the power of your body. So how do you generate heart mantra? There is a sound in the universe. The most primordial sound is Om. Om, the sound. So that's why we start with Om. And we end with Hom. Or Siddhi Hom. To end. And Hom. And in the middle, if you use Beja, that means wisdom, or the name, like Vishnuya, the name, or Ganesh, his name, Brahma, that's his name, many names, or Marichi, that's her name, Saraswati, that's her name, Saraswati. So starts with Om, the wise Saraswati, and her attainment accomplished. So that's how you explain. But the realm is very profound and expansive. At what realm can you generate heart mantra? That you would be able to hear your inner sound, then you would be able to generate heart mantra. Om Guru Lien Seng Siddhi Hom. Om, the boundless universe. The Guru who attained wisdom, and his realm will have attainment in the future and deliver many sentient beings. So that's the meaning of Om Guru Lien Seng Siddhi Hom. There's a disciple who asks other people to recite his heart mantra. So if this disciple can truly hear his own inner sound and ask other disciples to recite his heart mantra, whether it complies with the Dharma law or not, it depends whether his heart mantra is authentic or not. So that's how it is. I cannot say that my disciples, none of my disciples will hear the inner sounds. I cannot say that because some disciples may be able to hear the inner sounds and they would have their own heart mantra. Why people say that the Lanka Tavara Do you need empowerment to recite this mantra? Lanka Samvara. There are many mantras inside. I cannot say if it is authentic or not, the sutra. The Surangama mantra. Surangama Dharani. Someone by the family named Li. How do you pronounce that name?
我也没有查过字典。总之我按照我的方法，它好像象征的真啊，但是是3点水，叫念什么
How do you pronounce his name?
你们语言
Surangama mantra.
国文底子好的，3点水，一个，然后像针球的针一样，叫什么？啊？李真还是李成？
李真 or 李成？
都一样的。
Anyway, it's all the same.
无边呐，无边读中间，有边读边，无边读中间。好了，在大陆上的
So you recite the radical.
李成，好。
So you say
他对
李成 so
李成 ，OK.
Neither I or he was right from mainland China.
他研究
He's very well educated and he did research on Surangama Sutra. And he wrote a book about resolving the falsehood of Surangama Sutra. Have you read the book?
上师们看过没有？看过了几首？找出楞严经100个违造的地方，就是。
So he found 100 areas of the Surangama Sutra that were false, because the language and the wordings were not like the typical sutras of Sakyamuni Buddha's time. So it looked like a Chinese literature. And the wordings are very beautiful and lyrical. Of course, it was really well written, but this person picked 100 false or fake problems with it. So it's okay for you if you want to recite the Surangama mantra, but you need empowerment for it. How come you have never read the books that I read? The 100 falsehoods of Surangama Sutra. So, question: do you need Bardo deliverance after you're being reborn into the Buddha land? Do you still need to cultivate spiritually after being reborn in the Buddha land? If once you get to the Buddha lands, it's non-returning. But before you attain Buddhahood, you still need to cultivate spiritually there. So even when you're reborn in the Pure Land, you still need to cultivate spiritually, but you can attain Buddhahood very fast. So Buddha land,
very happy country. Western Buddha, very happy country. 你到了那个极乐世界。
If you get to the Western paradise or the realm of utmost bliss, whether you're born there with karma in the lower realms, or you're reborn there after you eradicate your karma, you still need to practice before you attain Buddhahood. So even when you're reborn in the Buddha lands, you still need to cultivate spiritually, but it would be very easy because there are spiritual companions around you. So do you still need Bardo deliverance? Let me tell you, the statement of Confucius is, you worship the gods as if the gods are there. If you respect your ancestors, you Bardo deliver your ancestors, you make offering to your ancestors. So like what the witch said, that people that have gone to the Buddha lands, those that she Bardo delivered, she said, she claimed that they have been gone to the Pure Lands, but if you believe her, then you would be dead, because they are not in the Buddha lands, because she used ghosts. So instead they fell lower. And she also claimed that the realm of the XX Hall is the same as Maha Twin Lotus Ponds. How could that be? How could that be? So the ghosts of the 911 and the ghost died from the tsunami in Aceh, Indonesia, with the same as Maha Twin Lotus Ponds? How could that be? How could that be possible? It's just whatever she said. Like Dharma Sister Sophia, she which Bardu delivered her and claimed that Sophia had become a Buddha by the name of the Buddha of the great knowledge. And a few days ago, I asked Sophia, because she's still living at my place, because she's staying around for 3 years. And I told her, hey, I've kept you for 3 years, because prior to your death, you asked me to keep you, and now I've kept you for 3 years. Where would you want to go? Why don't you just go? Don't live at my house anymore. But she said, no, I just want to live in your house. And I said, for how long? And she said, forever. And then I asked her, how many ghosts are in my house? 3. There are 3 ghosts in my house now. And I don't raise them. They came by themselves. But I kept Xu Ruiguang Sophia for 3 years, and she wanted to leave after 3 years, but now she changed her mind and she wanted to stay in my house forever. And there were 2 more. They like to live inside my fridge. That was strange. Why? Every time I walk by the fridge, then you would make this bang sound. The other day I walked by a few days ago. Every time I walk by the fridge, there would be a bang sound. And I have several fridges in my house, and they hid inside it. Why? Because cold likes cold, so they like cold. So they hide inside my refrigerator. So if you come to my house, please don't open the fridge. So after being reborn in the Buddha lands, do you still need Bardu deliverance? I think yes, because you respect your ancestors, so you worship the God as if the God is there. So by performing Bardu deliverance, as if we pay respect to the ancestors. So now, by having them Bardu delivered, I am respecting them. Doesn't matter where they go or where they are now. So like you don't listen to the witch, you know, because Sophia, she is in my house, and yet she said that she's gone to the Buddha land, becoming a Buddha. If someone who committed suicide can be Bardu delivered to become a Buddha, then I'd rather kill myself and have her Bardu delivered me and become the full Buddha. How could that be? She was captured by the ghosts, and I got her back and hid her in my house. How could she claim that she was Bardu delivered to become the great knowledge Buddha? How could that be? And she even gave a name. If she had such power, then I would just kill myself and have her body delivered. I wouldn't live long anyway. Oh, what time is it? There's a couple who's celebrating wedding anniversary in a restaurant, and in a romantic atmosphere, the wife told the husband, "Would you like to marry me again in the future life?" And the husband was answered with emotion, "I'm very happy meeting you in this life, but once is enough. I will give the opportunity to another person in the next life so that someone else would be happy." Actually, I feel very happy in this life. And then nothing to add because very happy. That's it. It's good to have two people to grow old together. That's not an easy matter. It's really not an easy matter. Extremely happy. This has helped me tremendously. Uh, 5 kilograms of cotton and 50 kilograms of lady and 50 kilograms of iron. Which one is heavier? Is the girl, the woman. Why? Because the woman can gain weight. Oh, because she deceived her weight. Do you believe how many kilos she is? And she would say, "Oh, I've lost a lot of weight." But from the back, she looks the same. You know who I'm talking about, right? At the senior center, there are 3 elderlies are competing who has the worst Alzheimer. And the first elderly said, "My Alzheimer is really bad. In the morning, when I pick up the newspaper, I would forget whether I'm about to read it or I have finished reading it." So that's really bad. And the second elderly did not want to lose and said, "Every morning, after I take off my pants and sit on the toilet, I would forget. Am I about to release my bowel or I have finished?" Oh, this is also really bad. They're about the same. And then the last elderly opened his mouth and said slowly, "Oh, those are nothing compared to my Alzheimer." Have I said it or am I about to say it? That's even worse. In the past, I also have some memory loss. But recently, my memory has improved tremendously. 宗喀巴 's memory is incredible. He's very smart and he had great memory.
这个子女有一个小子女吃苹果一定要削皮。
And niece
很多人都削皮，
would
把皮削掉。
always peel the apple
昨天呢
before she eats
这
it.
个
And
这个
yesterday,
姑姑啊给她削
the auntie peeled the apple for her and told
吃
her
苹果皮有很多的益处。
there are lots of benefits eating the peel, the apple peels.
还是有很多的益处的。
The nutritionists
似懂非懂的点头。
researched that, and the little niece could not quite understand, and then said, "Auntie, I'll just give you all the peels to you in the future." So you can't be like that, right? So in our Buddhist studies, you cannot go over or under. So like for Grandmaster do the practice according to a certain discipline. At what time I would do certain things. When to practice meditation, when to recite the sutras, when to perform the prostrations, and to do what at what time. It is routine. And I don't go over and I don't go under. Very stable and making progress. And this is the spirit of Buddhist study. If you're over, if you rush too much and you can't get anywhere sometimes, if you're too slack or too lazy, then you need to push yourself a little bit. If it's too much, then you need to decrease. It's the same with meditation. You cannot say, I want to meditate now. Meditate, 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 meditate. Then it's impossible to enter into meditation. And you need to relax. Relax. Just to relax everything. But then you go like this. Then that's no good either. That's not meditation. That's falling asleep. So meditation is between tightness and slack. If it's too loose, then you tighten up. If it's too tight, then you loosen it. That's what the Buddha said. If it's too tight, it's like when you play on a lute or guitar. If it's too tight, then it would snap. But if it's too loose, then the sound is not right. It has to be just right, not too tight, not too loose. Then it would be just right. Om Mani Padme Hum.